What were the last few months of 1967 really like for Buford Pusser? Stay tuned and find out. Now, when you watch the movie Walking Tall, the producers, directors, the actors, everyone wanted us to believe that every day was a day that Buford Pusser feared for his life at the state line. But the truth is, it was very different than that. Now, if you followed my videos from the start, you probably already know by now that the Plantation Club, owned by W.O. Hathcock, which incidentally was on the south side of the state line in Mississippi, where Buford had no authority, it was closed down in early 1964 before Buford was even elected as sheriff. Next, there's Jack Hathcock, who owned the state line properties. He was killed in May of 1964, well before Buford became sheriff. That left only Towhead White and Louise Hathcock as the state line. Now, it wasn't depicted at all like that in the movies because they had all these clubs, all the pimps, all the moonshiners, all the bootleggers. And with this, we have to remember that Towhead White went to prison in 1965 when he was arrested for his participation in the three-state moonshine operation and the robbery of the Red Carpet Casino near Biloxi. He was arrested by Sheriff James Bishop of Tishomingo County, not Buford Pusser. Shortly after that, in February of 1966, Buford had killed Louise in a very questionable shooting. So that brings us up from February of 66 through August of 67. The important thing to remember here is that the state line had been quiet since the death of Louise Hathcock on February of 1966. 17 months go by and you finally reach the ambush and you wonder about that. And then let's go on and talk about what happened in the months following the ambush to close out 1967. Now, on September 19th of 1967, the Jackson Sun would report that there had been a shooting at Gooch's Tavern on the south side of McNairy County. 42-year-old Vetus Gooch was dead. Now, when Carl Pusser spoke with the media about this, he described it as another one of those beer joint shootings. But that's not hardly how it was. You see, the person who shot Vetus Gooch was actually his 17-year-old son, so it wasn't hardly like that there was a barroom brawl or anything like that. This is only about 5 weeks after the ambush, and Buford was at home recovering from his injuries. There's no reason to believe that Buford was involved in the investigation of this shooting. Now, on October 9th, the Jackson Sun reported a shooting in which Carrie D. Tillman, age 62, was killed at her home in the Gilchrist community of McNairy County. Now, with it being close to the county line, Buford and authorities from Hardin County investigated. A little while later, Lonzo Tillman was found several miles away in the New Hope community. Lonzo was 66 years old. He was found dead, slumped over the steering wheel of his pickup truck, apparently from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after having murdered his wife. Again, Buford was never in any danger, as this shooting was a domestically related incident and not connected at all with the state line. Neither the incident with the tavern owner or the Tillmans involved the state line whatsoever. These were just apparently domestic disputes gone bad. Be sure and hit that subscribe button for notifications of future videos, and be sure and leave your comments at the end of this video. The next really newsworthy item would be reported by the Tennessean on October 25th, when tornadoes ripped across 3 states, including Tennessee and McNairy County. One of the twisters, which Buford said was caused by a cold front that was moving through, raked through an area between Acton and Mickey. PUSSER said that several highways, including Highway 57, 45, and 22, all had to be blocked off temporarily because there was debris in the highways. Again, nothing related to the state line, no danger to Buford, but that was the month of October. As we roll into the month of November, on November 5th, 1967, the Tennessean out of Nashville reported that the Alcohol Beverage Commission was under review. Now, as you'll recall, Buford had had his problems with the ABC related to the fact that they did not include him in raids in his own county. Well, of course, that was because there was a matter of mistrust, as the ABC agents apparently felt like that whenever they informed Buford of a raid in his county, they would end up empty-handed in that raid. So they started excluding him. Buford, of course, would claim all this was political, that he was a Republican and the Democrats were doing this to him. 2 weeks later, Bomar, the chief investigator of the ABC, was fired by Governor Ellington. Now, the last matter of significance to take place for Buford in 1967 were the deaths of Susan and Raymond Jones. Susan, of course, was the adopted daughter of Jack and Louise Hathcock and the sole heir to the state line properties after the death of Louise. However, the IRS had a lien on the properties because Jack Hathcock had failed to pay income taxes for several years. Now, some authors will go to the extreme and say that W.O. Hathcock and Howard Bunch had the two of them killed in order to obtain the state line properties for themselves. So this is such an important chapter that I feel like that it needs to be told separately from what happened in 1967. So I'm going to cover that very soon so that you'll understand that it had nothing to do with W.O. Hathcock and Howard Bunch, but rather just jealousy of Raymond Jones. Now, with that, let me say that the TBI is still looking for information regarding the August 12th ambush and the death of Pauline Pusser. I urge you, if you know anything about it, please contact the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-TBI-FIND. We need to get justice for Pauline. And remember, until next time, the truth has no agenda.